everyone. Welcome to the So Wizard podcast rundown of AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow our audience. Besides, you're not going to want to miss this list. Number 100 on the list is Ben-Hur. This is a movie that I've always loved. I'm surprised it wasn't ranked higher. I hope that just means we're in for some really great watching for the foreseeable, possibly extended future. Part of the reason why I've always loved Ben-Hur is I love stories about the history and taking place in ancient Greece and Rome. I have a couple versions of this movie on DVD, but I decided to watch the one on HBO Max so that if you want, you can watch the same version. I'm not really sure what differences there may be. The movie's 60 years old. There probably is not a director's cut. Or not a new one anyway. Epics like this don't exist anymore. Ben-Hur, played by Charlton Heston, is the titular character. He's a Jewish prince who is betrayed by his Roman friend Messala, played by Stephen Boyd. Messala is a Roman tribune. He betrays his friend to try and climb the Roman political ladder by ruling over Jerusalem. Ben-Hur is forced into slavery. His quest for vengeance drives him to overcome his new terrible lot in life as he climbs the social ranks in Roman society. On his path back to Jerusalem, Ben-Hur crosses paths with Jesus Christ. While this movie does intersect the story of Christ, it's intended to be more historical than religious, for the most part. The main plot of Ben-Hur, and his search for revenge, is a great story. Despite the age of the movie and the intimidating runtime, the story never drags. Watching Ben-Hur go from his lofty position of power and influence to the dregs of society and back again never feels out of left field. You root for him the whole time, and you want him to win. If the runtime does intimidate you, but you still want to watch the movie, which you should, here's some places where you can save some time. The movie starts with a title card that says Overture, and the Overture plays for about 7 minutes. Not long after that, we get the opening credits. At this time in Hollywood, the opening credits were basically what our closing credits are now, so this credit sequence runs 4 to 5 minutes. After a while of great movie making and storytelling, you can jump another 4 or so minutes past the intermission. This was not made for the Netflix and YouTube generation. If this is your first time through Ben-Hur, I recommend enjoying the full experience and not skipping big parts of the movie that were intentionally put in. Probably more for a theater audience than at-home viewing, but still. The very fact that I, a huge movie fan and a huge fan of this movie in particular, is advising anyone to fast forward chunks of a great movie says a lot about our modern minds. We're constantly getting instant gratification. The deliberate pace of this movie helps capture the monstrous scope. The scope is staggering even 6 decades on. More so 6 decades on. Along with being in the right headspace for a movie paced slower than what we're generally used to, we need to accept the style of acting from the time. These actors act. They don't blend into the characters or disappear into their performances. It feels more like a play than a modern movie, but there's not a weak link among this vast cast. While doing research for this video, I came across a lot of conflicting information online. I did my best to pull what showed up with the most consistency and believability. So let's get into Ben-Hur by the numbers. This was the first movie to win 11 Academy Awards. The budget was $15 million, which is $133 million today. This was a gamble since MGM was nearing bankruptcy. The gamble paid off when the movie grossed $75 million, which would be $667 million today. $1.2 million of that original 15 was in the physical film alone. The production and design included 1 million props, 100,000 costumes, and 300 sets that were built out of 1 million pounds of plaster and 40,000 cubic feet of lumber. And the 300 sets that were built took 5 years of research for accuracy and 14 months of labor. Ben-Hur took 9 months to shoot and another 6 months of post-production. This is shockingly little time given everything you see on the screen. These were 16-hour production days, 6 days a week. 10,000 extras were used. No CG doubling here. 365 credited speaking roles are noted, only 4 of which went to big Hollywood actors. Charlton Heston is one of the biggest name actors in old school Hollywood. Another legend, Kirk Douglas, was offered the role of Messala. Douglas wanted to play Ben-Hur. He saw himself only as a leading man. When he couldn't get his way, he got to work on Spartacus, which turns out to be number 81 on our list. Spartacus was intended on competing with Ben-Hur and is a monumental movie in its own right. Even though this movie is 6 decades old, as I've mentioned, it was actually a remake of a silent film following the same story. The original was made in 1925. Both of these movies are based on an existing property from 1880. You see, Hollywood's never been all that original. Certain aspects of the film inevitably do show their age. Not all of them in a bad way. The matte paintings are gorgeous. The layering is done so well, you don't care that you can tell it's layered. The miniatures are great too. They really hold up. Practical effects always age better than special effects. The naval battle scene in particular is a testament to the care in filming and editing that made this movie withstand the test of time. The orchestral score is really nice, though it's a bit underwhelming on our modern sound systems. This is due to the age and the limitations in sound mixing from that era. It's a real shame, since this was the longest score to ever be composed for a movie at 110 minutes and won the Academy Award. At the time, at least. I don't know if that still holds up. In the middle of enjoying the movie, there's a pretty major character in brownface. That part certainly doesn't age well. Normal movie-making liberties aside, I like the nods, locations, terminology about Roman civilization thrown around without needless explanation and exposition. Revisiting this movie after doing several major deep dives into Roman history adds a whole new level of enjoyment. Though it's not necessary, don't let that deter you from watching it. The infamous chariot scene has lost nothing over the years. This scene is so famous that you know it even if you haven't seen the movie. This is all practical too, remember. It's incredible how well this holds up. A CG version might look off and cheap after like 5 years, where this one still looks great. Doing it all practical, once again, stands the test of time, and it becomes even more impressive that they actually pulled this off. This one scene required 1,500 extras. It was built on a lot of 1,800 acres. It's the largest set ever built. The set is 5 stories tall and the track is 2,000 feet long. 40,000 tons of sand were brought to Italy from Mexico just for the color. The set is also historically accurate. It took 5 weeks to film. Heston actually learned to control a 4-horse chariot for the movie. I saw one site claiming that this scene killed over 150 horses. Every other source I found said there were no serious injuries to animals or humans, luckily. Another myth I was able to dispel was that a stuntman was trampled and killed, but the footage was used anyway. From the sources I saw that dispelled that, they said it was a ridiculous notion and no one really knew how that got started. Well, that was number 100 on the 10th anniversary edition of AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies list. I'll be shooting for a movie a week with bonus ones wherever possible, since 100 is a lot of watching. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more. Also be sure to listen to So Wizard Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. So Wizard Podcast can be found on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get multiple monthly bonus shows. Check out SoWizardPodcast.com for reviews, recommendations, merchandise, and more. We love hearing feedback, so leave something in the comments, drop us a line on social media. All of our accounts can be found after the show. Thank you.